This is part 3 of Reprogram Your Weight, Essential Tools to Reprogram Your Weight. As you know, I'm Erika Flint, the author and creator of Reprogram Your Weight. There are probably thousands of tools, all right? Lots of techniques to help you reprogram your weight, to lose weight. And so you might be wondering, why is that? The reason is that there are just as many solutions out there as there are people. And so the solution that's going to work for you is going to be unique just for you, all right? So it's probably going to be a combination of things that have worked for you in your past, combined with new techniques that I'll be teaching you and Reprogram Your Weight. The things that in the past, hypnosis amplifies those. So it makes them work even better than they ever did before, okay? In this training right now, we're going to talk about really 3 important tools. 2 of them are common issues that my clients face, and the third one is habits. All right. So these 2 common issues, they don't apply to everybody, but they do apply to enough people that I want to address it with you. So the first is called negative self-talk. All right, so what is negative self-talk? If you have this, if you're saying some things to yourself in your head that isn't very friendly, okay? Saying things like, oh, that was dumb, or why did I do that? Why do I keep doing this to myself? I'm never gonna lose weight. I'm never gonna get this right. So you're not alone, okay? A lot of my clients, there is that type of negative dialogue in their head. So this is what I want you to know about that. It's a bad habit, okay? Somebody probably taught it to you, a coach, a teacher, a parent, a spouse, a mean person, and it's a habit, and we can change it, we can fix it, and it does not take very long. It's also biological, okay? There's a biological component to this, and it's called a negativity bias, all right? So here's a negativity bias. Here's what that is. One of the things, a negativity bias is one of the things that has saved us over the course of human history. It's our brain's ability to focus on the negative for survival. So imagine that you're running for your life. Imagine this is back in caveman days, right? You're running for your life from a saber-toothed tiger, and you see this beautiful shiny apple, and you haven't seen an apple in such a long time. But guess what? If you went and picked that beautiful apple, you would be eaten by that tiger. So thankfully, our brain has something called a negativity bias. It wants you to focus on the negative, all right? So we need to overcome that in hypnosis in order for you to be successful, okay? It's very easy to do. It does not take very long, and that's one of the tools in Reprogram Your Way to get rid of that negative self-talk. And we can do it really easily, usually on the first session, and then over time, as I said, it turns into a habit, and then it turns into something permanent, sustainable, habitual, and permanent. All right, so the other issue that I want to talk to you about is called self-sabotage. This is the idea that you're purposefully doing something to sabotage your own success. And so I have a lot of clients that come in and say, I don't know, Erika, I must just be self-sabotaging. I must just be doing something to just kind of ruin my chances here to do this. And so I want to talk just briefly about that. Remember how we talked about in part 2 that your brain just wants to feel better? And that's a principle of the mind, to turn away from pain and toward pleasure. Well, here's a little bit more information about that. This is kind of a simplified overview. There are 2 parts of your brain at work here. And by the way, I really like teaching my clients why our brain naturally does some of the things that they're experiencing, because it helps them to understand that some of what's going on is biological. And once we know what's happening, once we have that awareness, then they can make a change. So I like to talk about the brain and why it's doing certain things. That's kind of one of the first, the awareness and understanding, oh, geez, that's just natural for that to happen. Okay, well, here's how we can overcome it. Okay, so there are 2 parts of the brain at work here. The first is called the limbic system. The limbic system wants to feel better now. Okay, it's the most primitive part of your brain. It's kind of in the center, the back center of your brain, and it just wants to feel better now. Okay, so that's the part of your brain that when you feel stress or you feel sad or you feel anything like that, that's the part of your brain that is just saying, I just want to feel better. Just, give me the cookies, give me the ice cream, that type of a thing, okay? The other part of your brain that's going on here is the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is right up here. It's a newer part of your brain. It's the executive function of your brain. It's the part of your brain that's planning and making really good decisions. And that part of your brain, that part of your brain wants you to feel better for the long term. That's the part of your brain that says, better save for retirement, that type of a thing, put some money in a rainy day fund or something like that. So here's what I want you to understand. You're not self-sabotaging. People who, if you think you're self-sabotaging by making these decisions, it's not really what's going on. So most of my clients are not self-sabotaging either. They're just only choosing to satisfy one part of the brain, the limbic system, the limbic part. They're saying, I just want to feel better now. instead of the other part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, which is I want to feel better for the long term. So it's not really self-sabotage. It's just not making the best choice. And, that type of thinking, it really helps clients feel, oh, okay, so I don't need to feel guilty about this. I'm just making a bad choice. I'm not trying to hurt myself. Okay. And in Reprogram Your Weight, we make it very, very easy to satisfy both of these parts of the brain. They both need to be satisfied. Yes, I want you to feel better now, and I want you to make a choice that's good for the long term. So when you do both of those things, that's where you get to have some, changing your relationship with food and have permanent weight loss and feel happy about it at the same time. All right, so now let's just talk about habits and your ability to change your habits, create new ones, because this is really important. A habit is like an executable program that runs in your brain without your conscious consent. And so, for example, you might find yourself eating ice cream anytime you're stressed. All right, anytime you're stressed, maybe you're zipping on by that fast food restaurant that has the ice cream you like, or you're stopping at the grocery store, or you just have some at home, that type of a thing. So you have a habit of stopping and getting some ice cream anytime that you're stressed. Or maybe you have a habit of stopping at a fast food restaurant every Friday night. You're kind of celebrating the week, that type of a thing. Now, the good news is that habits can be changed. You probably know that. But with hypnosis, habits can be changed a lot faster, more permanently, and I understand how to change a habit so that the habit component of it is the right habit and the right way to change it. So it makes the change effective and it makes the change permanent. Habits are created in the brain to help the brain conserve energy. So like I said, it's like an executable program that runs automatically. And so let's just say most people have had an experience of driving a car, right? So do you remember when you first learned to drive a car? It was a lot of work, right? Especially if you learned how to stick, right? So you had to deal with the clutch and the turn signals, and especially here in the Pacific Northwest, the windshield wipers and all of that type of a thing. But you know what? Over time, your brain learns. And driving becomes more habitual. It becomes easier, and that saves your brain a lot of energy. So there's a reason for these habits. Pretty soon, you're putting on your turn signal without actually thinking about it. You just know that that's where you want to go. So it saves your brain a lot of energy. And the same thing is true with other habits. A habit can be good or bad. Okay, it's the habit itself. It's what it's actually doing for you that we consider whether you want to keep it or not. And so how do we get rid of these pesky bad habits, right? Can they be changed? And the answer is yes, they can be changed, and we can easily reprogram those bad habits in hypnosis. So here's what I can tell you about those habits. It's something that a lot of people don't realize about habits. It's much easier and preferable to change an existing habit rather than just entirely get rid of it. And in order to change a habit, the change must satisfy the need of the original habit. So let me give you an example. This example actually comes from the book. Jennifer comes home from work, and if she's stressed, she'll immediately reach for ice cream in the freezer. So she kind of has this program called, if I'm stressed, I'm going to eat ice cream. Okay, I'm stressed, I'm going to eat ice cream. I'm stressed, I'm going to eat ice cream. That's an executable program that's running in her brain. And what Jennifer has to do is replace that program with an updated version, right? Kind of like we update our computer with new packages that come out, new pieces of software. We're going to update that for Jennifer as well. But it still needs to fit the need of the original desired outcome. So the original desired outcome was to reduce that feeling of stress without causing any unwanted side effects, which would be, like in this case, eating too much ice cream, she's gaining weight, right? And possibly she's feeling guilty and maybe frustrated after that. If we merely attempt to uninstall the program, meaning Jennifer just by willpower, she tries not to eat the ice cream and just like think about something else, it's not going to work very well. You guys might have even tried this before, like, okay, I'm not going to do that, and then you just muscle through it. But it's hard to do that permanently, okay, because it's not satisfying the need of the original issue. If the original need is not satisfied, Jennifer will continue to feel bad, and then she'll just likely dig into the ice cream, and she'll like save herself maybe, she'll wait 5 minutes or something like that. So in order to effectively change this habit, we need to still satisfy the need of the original. We need to reduce that stress. And so I've had clients before who say, all right, well, instead of eating that ice cream, I'm going to come home and clean the house. All right. And you know what? This sounds good, but it doesn't usually work. And the reason is because cleaning your house is not nearly as enjoyable or easy to do when you're stressed, right, as eating the ice cream. it's very likely that when you get home after a stressful day, you will not want to clean the house anymore. So it needs to be something that kind of is like the original, but without any hidden price tags. And so I want to tell you guys something, probably you already realize this, but when it comes to things that are easy and enjoyable, food has a pretty, food ranks pretty high. It's pretty easy. It's enjoyable, costs a little bit of money, and it's everywhere. So that's why it's so compelling for people to use it when they feel bad. But it also has a huge negative consequence. And with hypnosis, we can make these changes very quickly and effectively. You've probably tried something like this before, change a habit. But with hypnosis and Reprogram Your Weight, the motivation is amplified. So we just make everything that you've been doing a lot faster, a lot easier. And also the blockers are removed. So anything that you've tried before that's kind of holding you back, we get rid of that. And so it has a tendency to work faster and better than ever before. It's like before, if you were trying to change a habit without hypnosis, it's like you're out there trying to cut your grass with a pair of scissors. And then after hypnosis, you got like this riding lawnmower and you're out there just zipping through your yard, all right? So that's what I want you guys to think about. Hypnosis amplifies your success. So with Jennifer, we came up with a new solution ahead of time, all right? Coming up with it ahead of time is really important because in the moment when you're feeling stressful, you usually don't have enough energy to just like be creative enough to come up with a new idea. And so what she came up with that she thought would work for her is to go on a walk, okay? And this walk is going to be her new default response. This is what I call a new default response. You're just going to do that without thinking about it. So Jennifer came home. She decided she was just going to go on a walk, okay? Now, she's not going to go on a long walk. She decided, I'm just going to go outside. I'm just going to walk out the door maybe for 2 minutes and come back. And when she came back, she said she felt so much better. And over time, she just started doing that. She would come home from work feeling a little stressed. She'd go on like a 5-minute walk, sometimes more. Okay, so sometimes it was more. And there are different things that work for different people. Walks are pretty easy if you live in a safe neighborhood, but there's lots of other things that people come up with that are pleasurable and really easy to do. And thinking about this ahead of time is critical because if Jennifer waited until she's stressed to think about something else to do, like she walks in the door, okay, what can I do instead? She's just not going to have the energy to do so. She's just already too tired. Okay, so that's why we think about these things ahead of time. Once she comes home and goes on the walk and feels good, comes home, goes on a walk and feels good, do that enough times. And with hypnosis, it becomes very easy. Now that becomes repeatable, sustainable, and then it becomes a healthy habit, and then it becomes permanent. So hypnosis provides clarity that helps people make these connections and helps people come up with these ideas to create this new default response that will actually work for them. I only want things to make suggestions for you guys and things that are actually going to work for you in your life. So as you can tell, it needs to be a custom and unique solution. And Reprogram Your Weight is designed to find and install these new habits and make sure that they stick, all right? All right, so the first part of this training, we talked about reprogramming how we think. The second part was reprogramming how we feel to eat mindfully. This one is about habits, changing habits, and how to reprogram habits and amplify the ones that you already have. And the next one is all about how to avoid the #1 weight loss mistake that people make.